So this is the perfect way to format your message if you want to get coaching. It's just he starts out saying their rank, what they're using for their factions, gives um, some replay codes, and that's basically it. That's really all you need to do. So today we'll be doing I'll be reviewing some of SoggyToast's games. They're currently a Masters player, which looks like they're better with Gaia than Eden. Last season they were a diamond player, so it definitely seems they're improving. So let's hop into these games. I hope they make it, it's been suggested a lot. I hope they make it so it automatically makes when you input the codes, that it automatically makes them uppercase, because if you put it in lowercase, it won't work. So we'll be going over Empire games, I believe. Yeah. Alright, so the beast started off with a Igloom. See, SoggyToast starting hand is okay. Yeah, that's exactly what I would have done. It started with the Sense Unit, so you can bank it off the Penguins. I probably would have played those further back, so that way the Sense Units would have stayed further back as well. Let's see. Yeah, so far this is fine. I wouldn't have played those Ballisters. I would have just let it even out and have them come and then play the Ballisters now. Just like that. Could have saved some, you could have saved 2 soul, which will help you when you start the second push. Okay. This is fine. I think you needed to wait a split second more to get the sense. I don't know if you got the sense out for that. But I think you need to wait a bit more to get that sense proc. I'm not sure how I feel about that dorm roll. I'm a little confused by the level 4 units when you have a level 7 faction. See. That wasn't really the greatest spine shell. I don't think there's enough effective HP there to really make use of it. I would have waited until you had a bigger HP pool to work with for it. Let's see, this is fine. Yep, I use that. I wouldn't have played those fugitives. I would have waited to get mana to play anything else. Alright. And if you were going to play those fugitives, so it looks like you had trouble with the Anna. So to get rid of the Anna, the easiest ways to get rid of Anna is to bait them into using their charm to get them to bait them into using their charm, and then after that, there's going to be 10 seconds where they can't use it again, so you have 10 seconds to kill them. So you can place whatever units you want. You could have placed the fugitives on them as soon as the units nearby the Ana retargeted. And then the Ana can die to fugitives, so they probably would have charmed them or played something to get rid of them. But I don't think they had any more Dynafrogs or anything like that. There's also... the deck composition just seems really weird. Running Sense units, and then you have Faceless Saint, but also Fugitives. I don't know, it just kind of seems inconsistent. I feel like you're never going to consistently get off procs of Sense, and you're also not consistently going to get a good, what's it called? A good supporting line for your Faceless Saint. So it looks like they're kind of, you have a, what's the word? You're trying to mesh together two different ways of playing Empire that just don't really go together that well. Also, I feel like the Doramorph isn't needed. It's expensive, and it doesn't really help anything that you have going on, especially because you have Spine Shell as well, so you don't want to have too many. You should have all 3 copies of Spine Shell if you're using it. So with Doramorph, then you're going to have 5 spells, which is the highest I would ever say you have is 5 spells, like the very highest, because that's 1/6 of your deck. So you're pretty much always going to have a spell in hand. But if you're running Faceless Saint along with Sense, I don't think you can have that many spells. Okay, so we're starting up. I don't know. I'm not a fan of the Siege Ram. I'm just going to say that. I really don't think it's that good of a unit. I think it has potential, but how it is right now, it just isn't worth using. I think you also have too many Snowy Owls in your deck. I would recommend having no more than 2. I think you have 3. This is fine. I don't think I would recommend using a Red Witch with a Faceless Saint, because it's not enough single target DPS. The Faceless Saint's going to clear away any swarm units easily. And the Red Witch attacks extremely slowly, so the Red Witch really doesn't have all that much damage, especially for single target. I'm also not a fan of Clerics, although people do use them. I'm personally not a fan of them, however. Because right now, here, let's just look at your hand before. So you played the Lancers. So you have a... oh lord, I can never... Celica? Helena? I don't know. The 5-cost legendary, I can never remember her name. It's become a meme on the Discord to call her by the wrong name now because of me. But, so there's that. You have the Clerics, you have the Siege Ram, and you have the Snowy Owl. So what you can play for responses, is that the Clerics can only be used, to support a front line. The Snowy Owl you don't want to just play. That's really only something you use to counter a big unit. You have the Siege Ram, which you can use in a couple of different situations, but it's not useful for responding to this situation or any similar situation. It's only basically if you already have a push there and you want to put some extra damage on it. And then, so the 5-star legendary I think would be great in response to this right now, because it'll slow down the attack speed and start chunking at them. Yeah, I would have started with her instead than the Lancers. Because I think you would get a better push out of it. It's a little strange. I'm assuming you're not running 3 Spine Shells because I haven't seen one yet. It could just be a bad luck, though. That push was kind of shallow. You're going to need to play a Red Witch and Celica. Helena, the legendary unit. Nope, not that one. Well, I guess, yeah, that's good too, but... Yeah, the defense of that was a little subpar, but you made it. Fugitives are bad. I wouldn't use fugitives. I used them in some decks when I was playing around with some sense stuff, but and playing around with the new Doom Walkers. But it's just not worth it really in any situation. Okay, that's fine. I probably would have used... Yeah, see, you don't have enough soul now. I would have used the... I'm going to assume her name's Helena. I would have used the Helena instead because she's cheaper. She has the same amount of HP. She's the same level. So the Riphorn doesn't have a lot of HP. The Guardian can kill it. And then you'll still have Soul to respond to anything else they play. They got the Stealth Blade coming. You're going to have to play some Ballisters, yep. And then you have Ballisters on the front line. That was a bad Spine Shell. Because it didn't change the result of that at all. And you could have saved it for now, and you could have gotten out on the Siege Ram as well if you saved it till now. This is an okay use of the Guardian skill. This should be a win. Nope, nope. Okay, I see. I see what happened. Alright, now that Dormorph's useless. You're probably going to have to defend with the Lancers. Put one on the Engineer, two on... Oh, nope. That's not how you do that. Oh, well. Yeah, that was a very risky play that I would not have attempted. Because if you can win the push... Or not win the push. If you can stop this push, then you just win. So, yeah, against Republic, you lose there. Because they have AP Strafing and a lot of other spells. So you can't... Republic is the one faction where you can't get that low against... and expect to still win because they can AP Strafe, Carpet Bomb, Nuke, and then they have the Guardian skill as well, which can just boom deal like 800 damage just like that. So the what really lost you that game was those War Pigs where you try to send them at them, especially against Republic, who is known for having a lot of cheap units like that. Not as many as Empire, but like Marines are the poster child of the Republic, so that was a little rough. So, the biggest problem I'm seeing isn't necessarily your gameplay, which I guess is to be expected out of somebody that is at around 1400. It seems to be more of your deck composition just doesn't really make sense to me. As well as... So that's making you get bad hands. You just lots of bad hands. And it's just because you don't really give yourself the opportunity to make a good hand. I'll go over my my Empire deck and go over some possibilities after I finish this last game. The second thing is that gameplay-wise, there is a bit of an issue with defending. Like always, defending, like I always say, you want to get rid of the push for as little soul as possible. And it's just sometimes, like, just, like, little judgment things. I think, like, you should have played playing the Helena instead of the Face of Saint, because it's 2 soul less, but it does the same job. And because it's 2 soul less, you have more soul to respond to other things, as well as playing a Red Witch earlier when they're going at you with the Swarm, and then playing a Snowy Owl to deal with the hot shot. I think stuff like that would have helped a lot more. Yeah, for that match, it was really pretty much about it. It's just the defending and then just the hands. Just bad hands. All right, what we got here for a hand? All right, we have Lancer, Snowy Owl, Helena, Fugitives, and Times. So you have 4 cards in your hand because Fugitives isn't going to do anything. Really, all Fugitives does in this hand is it's a skill reset for Times. Lancers is a great card. I love Lancers. Helena's also a really good card. The slow is amazing. All right, so you start off with the Times. That's understandable. You could have started off with Lancers as well, but times is AoE damage. I don't know how I feel about stacking AoE damage. You need single target damage, so you should have played the Lancers really, which Lancers are AoE damage, but they have more single target damage than the Red Witch does. But overall, that push wasn't terrible. That should... Oh, no, it isn't damaging the Rocketeers. That's a shame. That one went low. But it's going to die. I would honestly defend with either the Ballisters or the Fugitives, yeah. Yep, and then play that in the back. That's fine. You don't really have any supporting units other than the Ballisters, though. I wouldn't recommend playing it yet. I wouldn't... So those are sensitive. You want them to last as long as possible. Goliath. There's no reason to have the Brute Axes tank for a Faceless Saint. The entire point of a Faceless Saint is to be a big HP pool that just walks around blowing up. So you kind of just wasted your you're not Mad Axes, your Brute Axes there. You don't have enough soul to be playing War Pigs like that. At that point, I would have just waited, and then you could have used those War Pigs for defense. You don't have enough AoE damage, because your AoE damage... Here, let's go with it. Your AoE damage, it consists of War Pigs, Faceless Saint, and Red Witch. That's it. That's all your AoE damage. War Pigs, Faceless Saint, Red Witch. Oh, and Lancers. That's all of your AoE damage. Red Witch is extremely slow at attacking. So it's a situational AoE damage. Faceless Saint costs 7 soul. I think you used both of them already? No, only one. So you only have one left in the deck. Who knows when you're going to draw it, and it costs 7 soul. So you can't really use it reactionarily. You've got the Lancers, which is a great all-around unit, but it only spawns 2, and they're like melee AoE, so kind of situational, and they're also fairly expensive. And then you got War Pigs, which deal a shit ton of AoE damage right now. Which is, in my opinion, amazing for defending. You just spend 3 soul and boom, it pushes over, So using them offensively like that, especially putting them down the same lane, when you don't have a lot of soul going on and your push is already ended, it's natural that it's not going to do anything. You keep putting backline units in front of your frontline units, which I can't recommend at all. But I would wait and play a face. I would have waited until they got closer and then played it on them, right? Because it does AoE damage around it. So I would have waited a bit, even though you already have max soul. Who knows? Maybe you could play like Red Witch or something in the back if you're really concerned about. But if you waited 1 more second for the Marines and the Rocketeer to walk up and you played the Faceless Saint on them, your Faceless Saint would have taken a lot less damage because it would have killed the units a lot faster. Okay, I played Mad Axes behind the Guardian. I wouldn't... Yeah, I don't think Lancers... Because now your only AoE damage is 1 thing of War Pigs. Seems this is working out okay, though, so I guess I can't fault it too much. You need to stop playing backline units like Mad Axes in front of frontline units, which like Lancers. And now you no longer have any AoE damage, but it's fine because you're able to get it off. You wasted a Dormorph. I think that was a Grenadier. You played a 5-cost card to get rid of a 4-cost unit. Yeah, that's fine. I would have played them in a straight line. Just because, put the fast, but I guess it doesn't matter. I don't know what you just Dormorphed. I wasn't paying attention, but you only Dormorphed 1 unit against Republic, and I doubt it was... Oh, that was not good against a Grenadier. I doubt the unit you just Dormorphed was worth more than 5 soul. At this point, I recommend you just remove Dormorph from your deck. It's not doing you any favors. Yeah, this is obviously over. They have a really strong push coming, and you don't have anything to respond to it, because you've already used all the useful cards you have in your deck. No, yeah. Okay, so definitely number one thing working on is the Empire deck. Empire is actually probably my best or second best faction. Is this the one I'm using? I think this is the deck I'm currently using. All right, so all right. I don't know if you have Faceless Altar. Considering that all your cards are around level 4, I'm assuming that you have a lot of lower level cards. Um, I think most of my cards are around level 6 right now, but I have zero issues playing Empire currently. Um, so yeah, you have. Is it Helena? It is Helena. All right. So you have Helena. That's good. That's one of the best cards. You don't have Anna, which is well, I don't think you have Anna. You aren't using Anna, and anyone who has Anna and doesn't use Anna is insane. So I'm going to assume you don't have Anna. So yeah, two full ballisters, full hammer scouts, full spine shells, one shield, which I've actually been thinking about getting rid of and putting in another unit, maybe like a red witch or something, um, or maybe a storm cellar. Of course, Max War Pigs because it's one of the best defensive units ever, and it can in times win you a game. Using War Pigs offensively, how you were, should be a much more rare occurrence. Um, I would do that if I have a winning push. By winning push, I mean a push that they currently don't have enough units to respond to, and if they don't respond to it in some way, then they're going to lose the game. Not necessarily a push that is guaranteed to win the game, but a push that can threaten to win the game if they don't respond to it more than they already have. In that case, I will put War Pigs, one on each lane, plus send it down. Because if they have to choose to either respond to the push that is starting to win the game, or they have to choose to respond to the War Pigs that I just sent down on both sides. Some rare cases, they can respond to both with one play. Most of the times, they end up responding to one and lose to the other. Those are really the only times I'd use it defensively, or I'm sorry, offensively. Other than that, I always play War Pigs defensively. Use it to get rid of hot shots, get rid of big swarms, get rid of. Sometimes I use it for mad axes. Lots of things you can kill with War Pigs. All right, I have two red witches. I don't max it out because I'm not really the biggest fan of red witches, but they can be useful. Three mad axes. I have one Imperial Guard for the taunt. Sometimes it saves my ass. I'm using the Greenwood Archer. Instead of brute axes. I used brute axes before, like everybody else. It's the staple for Empire. I find the Greenwood Archer is just better. Not necessarily that it is better, but the Greenwood Archer is a card that's easier for me to play with my playstyle. Watching you play, it seems you also struggle with properly using the brute axes. No worries, different people have different play styles. Brute axes wasn't something I could do too efficiently. Seems you're the same. So if you don't have Greenwood Archer, um, then I recommend just being more careful with your brute axes. If you do have Greenwood Archer, I would highly recommend you swap it out for your swap out the brute axes for the Greenwood Archer. Then yeah, I have the Anna Helena, two Lancers, and two Faceless Altars. Um, Lancers are probably one of the best Empire units. I have the Altars because it's extreme pressure. It's a lot of value. It can kill things like Terminite Queen of the same level, and it makes for great spine shield targets. You get some Lancers to the enemy side of the field, or to the enemy Guardian, and you get like six Faceless Hands down there. You spine shell them, that's pretty much game. Unless they got like, of course, things like Painlings and War Pigs will make it a bit harder, or might stop it. But it's a lot of HP. Faceless Hands have a lot of HP, so that's why I enjoy using it. You're using Doromorph. There's no reason really to use Doromorph at this rank at this time. Nobody's running big tanks except for you, apparently. The only tanks they're running are stuff like the only Doromorph targets that are really being run are legendaries. But I feel like there's easier ways to get rid of them. I have times. I don't use times. It's too expensive. Times is too expensive. That and you have to use it with the sense thing. But if you play times, okay, so times is only really useful if you're using it with sense, with their sensibility to reset their cooldown for their active ability. But if you're just playing a 7 cost unit, you're not going to have soul to consistently proc a sense. So it just doesn't work in my opinion. If times was a 6 cost, then maybe it would be better. But you're running Face of Saint, which I can't recommend since the nerf. Um, it also seems like, especially especially against things like Republic, you just cannot play Face of Saint against Republic. They just destroy it immediately. But yeah, the biggest things. Let's see. I'm not even running Snowy Owl actually. Um, cause let's see. Yeah, I don't really struggle with big cards, with big units, with this deck, cause I'm able to kill them fairly quickly between Ballisters, Mad Axes. The Greenwood Archer especially is great for melting big units. And then I can just put either Lancers or I can stall with Hammer Scouts. So it's fairly easy to deal with big units cheaply with the Empire deck. So I don't really need a Snowy Owl. Um, the only thing I would probably have Snowy Owl for is maybe just Goliath, but I can use my Imperial Guards for that if I have them on hand, as well as Anna. So yeah, I don't think I'd recommend using Snowy Owl or Dormorph with Empire at the moment. And then I don't think you have 3 Spine Shells. You need to have 3 Spine Shells if you are running, the Spine Shell comp, which honestly everybody should be right now, honestly. You definitely need to get rid of the Siege Ram. The Siege Ram is just a bad unit right now. It sometimes it'll win you the game. You'll be like, wow, this is a great card, and then every other time you use it, or you'll pull it, and now you just have a dead card in your hand. It's not useful as a win condition. Not like in the sense that Scorpioneer or maybe even Nuke could be. So I wouldn't recommend running it because it's so easy for it to eat up a space in your hand. You can keep the Clerics, I guess, but I don't really know if I'd use Faceless Saint. You have too many expensive cards in your deck, in my opinion. So it makes it harder to react to things. So other than deck composition, really the biggest issues are you're playing units in front of your tanks, which doesn't make sense to me because the whole point of the tanks is to make it so the other units that you play don't take damage. So I would stop doing that. If you're playing stuff like Ballisters, play them behind your Faceless Saint if you're going to continue running Faceless Saint, or your Helena, your Lancers, whatever's going in the front line. Play them behind them and not in front of them because they're backline units for a reason. They have no HP, but they do lots of damage. So if you can keep them alive, you get a lot more damage out of it. Just like the other player I coached, Hydro Wolf, it seems you also rarely play units behind your Guardian. So don't be too afraid to use your Guardian HP. Most of the pushes that got to you, though, in the games that I saw were large pushes. So you really didn't have too much of a luxury to do it. There's a couple places where you could, but for the most part, it was better just to play units in front of your Guardian so you don't just lose the game. And then other than that, just I guess maybe think a bit more before responding to pushes before you start defending, because there's definitely some times when you made choices that were a little questionable. I would use War Pig. Try to get in the mindset of using War Pigs more defensively rather than offensively. And I think if you stick to those, you should be able to get up to roughly 1500 Empire, I believe. Because I saw lots of good decisions made. It's just I think the mixture of your deck composition and those things that I mentioned were holding you back a bit. So I think you should be able to climb fairly highly this season, depending on how much time you have. All right. So I think I'll end the coaching there. I'm planning to go back to releasing things regularly now that everything's died down. So I have a lot more free time. So I'll go back to posting my free-to-play climbing series. I'm releasing a new Season 2 analysis which I guess is a little late. So I'll do the season 3 analysis probably in like 2 weeks as well. So that way we have an updated. I'm sure they're going to be balancing, so we'll have an updated thing for that. So that's what I'm planning. The next coaching will be released on Friday, so that's when the next one will be. I would like it if somebody who is a gold player would request some coaching, because we're doing diamond and masters now. So I think having a gold player just to get that variety of different elos done. So if you're a gold player, please feel free to message me. Here's my information. To add me, it's Ariel Snack, all lowercase. I don't know if caps matter. And then the number is 1170. So feel free to add me. And then if you want coaching, you can also message me in game, just like the message I showed you at the beginning that SoggyToast sent me. That was a perfect message. So those are my plans. That's what's going to be happening in the near future. I hope you guys are enjoying the actual thumbnails for once. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to subscribe and hit that little bell icon if you haven't already. And as always, let me know what you thought. Let me know if there's anything I could improve in, or if there's any content you want to see for the future. And as always, best of luck climbing.